My name is Carina Gardner, and I'm what you would call a practical designer. If you're ready to create a life that you love, become an incredible force for good, and generate income while pursuing your dreams, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to Make and Design. Hi designers, today I want to talk to you about three product types that you should be thinking about designing for in 2025. As you guys know, especially those of you who have been in my programs, we see that there's a waning of certain products and then a popularity in other types of products. And so because of that, we can't be still, right? We need to kind of pay attention to what products are coming up, what's becoming popular, and that really helps us understand what kind of products we should be innovating, thinking about, and creating. So I really want to talk to you today about three products that I think in 2025 is going to be strong, and we're going to kick it off with the first one, which we have been already talking about. So if you're surprised by this one, then you haven't been listening to my podcast. That's the only thing I could figure out. So the first one is DTF, which is direct to film printing. And the reason I think this is going to be so popular is because for the first time ever, we're really seeing consumers get these machines. Now, here's the deal with these machines. They can start as low as $2,000 to $5,000, which, it's not a small amount of money as a consumer to get into it, which means that for the most part, it's people who are building businesses from these things. DTF machines run all the way up to $30,000 to $50,000. And that is when people are more serious about it. They're running their businesses from it, right? Or they have multiple businesses from it. So the reason DTF is such a strong component for being able to design for is because it's people who are serious about getting into business. Sometimes when we are creating and designing specifically for consumers, their choices or the reasons they're buying is very much manipulated by what's going on in the economy. Whereas people who are running businesses, no matter what the economy is, they've got to run their businesses. So they're usually buying more designs. The other nice thing about DTF is it can be any kind of file. So unlike other mediums, a DTF can be full color. It can be printed on white or dark backgrounds. We have that problem a little bit with sublimation. And so it's such a cool thing to design for. So because of that, full color, there's a lot of different techniques you see in it. We saw the coolest, I was pretty sure it was DTF anyway. It was like a tumbler and it was a little bit raised and it just looks so incredibly cool. So there's a lot that can be done with DTF. The per print mode for it, if you're buying it from someone else, is quite inexpensive, and then you can resell it. So there's a lot of things as creatives that we can do with DTF that I think is really, really cool. Okay. My team started talking about DTF probably last August when we got together for a team retreat, and we're trying to figure out the best way for us to get into it. So just know it's something that we on the Carina Gardner Inc. team have been talking about and thinking about for quite some time now. All right, number 2 is laser. So if you're not in the laser game yet, I think that laser has so much potential. Laser really, hasn't been as popular as machines that cut out SVG files. So an SVG file, a scalable vector graphic, would be anything that is for your Cricut, Silhouette, Caesar, Brother Scan and Cut type machines. And a lot of those machines cut paper or vinyl. Laser is a whole new level because we're now working in 3D a little bit. So in particular, wood, chipboard, acrylic. So it just opens up a lot of possibilities for people who want to create really cool things. The other good news is that laser starts at a much lower level than DTF, $300 to $500 for the more amateur machines, up all the way to $100,000, which is quite a bit more serious. And then there's everything in between. And I would say the best machines are probably I don't know, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000. So people who are getting into this are much more serious about it. They're creating really cool things from it. And in particular, I've been talking to enough laser cutters that the ways they are using them for business is pretty diverse. So in a program like mine, even though we emphasize digital because we like selling digital versus having to make stuff, I will tell you that a lot of my laser cutters are actually selling physical. So there are a lot of applications for this because suddenly you can create things in plastic or acrylic, and you can create felt things. So you can create a lot of great products. In particular, Brenna, who is in our program, created these beautiful felt flowers that were perfect for barrettes. I know someone who creates a special safety strap for kids with their laser machine. So there's like a ton of application if you want to get into a creative business, which is pretty darn cool. And number 3, not to jump really fast, but I know you're waiting for number 3, is 3D printing. Now this one is sometimes tough for us as designers because we're used to the 2D world. Even laser and DTF, we're still kind of working a lot in 2D, even though we're building 3D type projects. 3D printing is the future. I think there is a lot here, and most of us not designing for it. So if you have a chance to play around in the 3D, there are lots of programs out there in 3D and lots of softwares that go specifically to 3D printers. What's going to be the winner? I have no idea. Okay, this is where you're going to have to reach out and figure out some research on this. But if you want to go into 3D printing, I think there's going to be a lot of designers in the future who really are going to get into 3D. In college, we really called this industrial design. You know, anything that was 3D was really like industrial design work. But I think that there's going to be a place for graphic designers because I know that tools like Blender, and then there's specific softwares. I know that like my kids haven't been using, but I have friends whose kids are using, they're building 3D things out of. And now this 3D printers can get as low as $150 to $500. Most of them are much higher than that, and they can get all the way up to $100,000. Silhouette even has its own 3D printer. So there's lots of cool things. And even this Christmas, I got my son a 3D printing pen, which is very interesting. I just wanted him to try it, and he's played with it and really liked it. But basically, a 3D printing pen is just running that plastic through the pen as it heats up, almost like a hot glue gun, but then you are creating stroke by stroke 3D objects with it. So it's very interesting. I think you can see that there's probably going to be a lot of application with it. I've seen a lot of 3D printed type items sold in stores even. I'm not seeing it really at mass scale, but you guys know that we are seeing like 3D printing to be used for building houses, for building really big things. So I really think that it's something that you should consider and think about if you ever want to get into that kind of design. Now, I know a lot of you who come to me, like you come to me because you love crafting and you're like, whoa, this is like way outside my realm. And that's okay. Like the point here is for you to be on top of innovation. Just like with AI and all the things that we're kind of thinking about when it comes to being designers, we just have to kind of pay attention to really what's going on in the world. Okay. Now, a lot of reasons I think these 3 are becoming more of a focal point, at least for me in 2025, is because the technology has changed. So 5 years ago, these 3, I like wouldn't have even batted an eyelash or considered, but the tech is changing rapidly, you guys. And so I would say if you're fully into crafting, that's awesome. If you're doing SVG files, if you're doing stickers, if you're doing clip art, these things are still relevant, okay? They're not going away. So don't turn your focus. But instead, what I want you to do is just start exploring. What are other avenues that you can make income? What are other ways that you can think about using your design work to build a business? And hopefully that helps and kind of gets you thinking, and I will talk to you soon. Did you know you have access to more free design content, die cut files, and sewing patterns? Join our exclusive VIP group for free by going to designsweetcourses.com/free.